Welcome to this special episode of this podcast, a collaboration between Zurich Resilience Solutions and Guardey. My name is Doreen Leijers and I'll be your host for today. And we'll dive into a topic that touches every organization, regardless of size or sector: cybersecurity awareness. Because technology keeps advancing and one thing hasn't changed. The human factor is still the weakest link in cybersecurity. And every day, Zurich sees where things can go wrong, while Guardey focuses on changing behavior and building a true culture of security. And together, they bring two perspectives that are key: the insurer, who watches and witnesses the impact of cyber risks on a daily basis firsthand, and of course, the innovator, who turns awareness training into something effective, engaging, and lasting, but most of all, fun, if you can imagine. Let's talk about that with our three experts of today. Two of whom work at Zurich Resilience Solutions, and one is the CEO and co-founder of Guardey, Joeri van de Watering. Good morning. And then we have Olav van Raath and Mijke Grift. You both work at Zurich Resilience Solutions. Maybe you can quickly introduce yourselves.
Absolutely. Well, as you said, my name is Olav. I'm responsible for bringing our cybersecurity services to clients in the Benelux and the Nordics. And we do so just to build resilience in the end. Because as an insurer, we know a lot about what happens in the market indeed. And we know what the status is at different companies. But we are here also to bring that knowledge and help clients become more resilient.
Wonderful. And Mijke is your colleague.
Yeah. My name is Mijke Grift, and I work as a cyber risk engineer at Zurich, focusing on the Benelux and in the Nordics. And what I mostly do is work together with the underwriters to assess the most complex and large risks in the Benelux and the Nordics. And next to that, I work closely together with the global team to follow cyber trends worldwide and then set the technical standard for Zurich.
All right. And Joeri?
Hi, good morning. Yeah, Joeri van de Watering indeed. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Guardey. With Guardey, we focus on cyber awareness training via a fully gamified platform using nano training. And what we do is we focus on creating behavioral change in a durable way and creating a cyber awareness culture within an organization. I'm in the cybersecurity since 2015, and I have a background in safety training for people in the oil and gas.
Okay, and nano training, that word was new to me. That means not just one training once a year, but a very...
Exactly. So we break down a big training event into small pieces. And what we do with Guardey is we offer a small training of 3 minutes every week.
Exactly, for teams that would want to do so. Now, maybe let's get into the partnership, a little bit of context before we dive into the actual material, because I wondered what brought you together as two different parties in this case. So where did the collaboration start, if I can say it?
Good question. The collaboration started a few years ago already via a mutual partner of us, was a Dutch bank, the Rabobank.
Okay, so they brought you in contact.
Yeah, correct.
And what makes an insurer, and this is maybe for Mijke or Olav, of course, what makes an insurer and an awareness platform a logical match? What made you reach out?
Yeah, so what we see, I assess cyber risks every day. And what we see is that the human factor remains the biggest weakness within a company. Mm-hmm. Next to that, we sell insurance, we also focus on actually strengthening the resilience. And we thought, hey, we can say the human factor is very important. We need cyber awareness training. But what if companies don't have it? Then we want to help them. And that's why we thought, hey, let's work together. Let's partner up with a company that can actually offer those trainings.
Because you often come in when it's, let's say, too late.
Yeah.
And now you want to have a prevention of those cyber risks.
Yeah, we see what the impact can be, right? So
Exactly.
if an incident occurs, our insurance clients also comes to us actually to help them out, right? So and if we then zoom in on what would be one of our primary components would be to really take care of the human risk and treat it and improve how you treat that risk. And we see a gap between what is actually in place and what should be in place, because, well, as everyone probably experienced awareness trainings, like yearly awareness trainings once in their life and their corporate career. These are often lengthy sessions, and you probably forgot about the main lessons. Mandatory.
And you don't feel like it.
And exactly. You probably wait until the last moment in order to actually fulfill the requirement to attend it. So not only is that annoying for a lot of employees, but that's also, well, you forget about a lot of things that you are supposed to learn from it. So that needs to change. You really need to be able to respond adequately to this risk. And that is what we see, that there is something that we can really play a role in together with Guardey.
Absolutely. It's that human factor and that behavioral change. We're going to talk about that. Because when I think of cyber security, you go to firewalls, software, anything that is actually not that human factor. So that's a big key. Mijke, why is awareness training a requirement for a cyber insurance policy?
Well, I first have to say it's not a hard requirement.
Okay.
It's something that we expect companies to have. We would like companies to have awareness training.
Warmly recommend.
And I have to say it's one of the controls that we really want to see that a company has in place. But it's not a hard requirement. If a company does not have awareness training yet, we can help them get it. But what we still see is that, and data from worldwide statistics show that more than 90% of the cyber incidents start with a human mistake. So that's what we said before. It's the weakest link in a company, and it would be strange if we as an insurance company would not focus on the weakest link.
Well, let's talk about that weakest link, the human factor in cybersecurity. Joeri, why is that human factor the biggest vulnerability?
If you look at cybersecurity, we there's a golden triangle, and it exists from technology, policies, and human. And if you have good technology in place, you have the right policies, but you don't train your people in the correct way. What Mijke said, you are as strong as your weakest link. So you will always be vulnerable as an organization. So it's really important to train your people in the correct way to protect your organization for cyber risks.
So this training, just for my comprehension, it's as simple sometimes as choose the right password and don't click on the phishing mails. I feel that we've been hearing that for a decade.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's in our behavior.
No, exactly. And I think that's the biggest difference. If you ask someone, how can you recognize a phishing email? I think everyone can answer that question. But the problem...
Someone in Africa wants to give me all of their money.
A Nigerian prince, probably. Yeah.
A prince, yes. It's usually
correct,
a prince.
Correct. So I think everyone knows how to recognize a phishing email, but the problem occurs, everyone is really busy. They are multitasking, they are doing many things. And that's the moment people are really vulnerable because they know it, but in their busy life they forget about it and they will make a mistake. So it's really important to change someone's behavior, that they are always aware in everything what they are doing. So that's really important to.
Is the awareness equally important about the consequences as about the behavior? Maybe we don't realize what the consequence can be of a quite simple password, let's say, of my computer in my office. I would think, what's the big deal?
Yeah, definitely. It's the same thing, for example, a very, what we see happening a lot. So people receive a phishing email, they click on a link, then they see, this is not correct. I close the browser, my computer is still working, so everything will be fine. But they don't know that in the background, everything can go wrong.
But that can go on for a long time.
definitely.
Before you realize.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the problem. If people don't report a situation like this, huge problems can occur. While if you report it directly, you can take measures to avoid it.
Is the awareness also about the reporting of phishing
definitely.
emails?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's quite.
Should.
Yeah. You should.
Because I never do that.
You
I just hope my computer still works. I'm the one you just described. Mijke, important. What examples do you see on a daily basis at Zurich of incidents caused by human errors? Can we, like in a car accident, talk about minor impact and major impact? Is there a difference?
Yeah, there is a difference. What a lot of people think about when we talk about human mistakes is clicking on a phishing email. But there is so much more than that. It's also leaving your laptop or computer unsupervised, or wrong use of passwords, or that you have the same, you maybe have a strong password, but you use the same password for 10 different platforms, for example.
Oh, I do that.
You shouldn't do it.
Really?
You shouldn't do it. No, because if they get into one of the platforms, they will use it for the other ones as well. So that's really something you should focus on, and everyone should focus on, of course. A human mistake can be so much. It can also be that you send an email to the wrong people. That's also a data leak, for example. So.
And then there's the more scary part with AI, of course, which is, I don't know the exact name, I forgot, voice phishing?
Yeah.
Where it's not just an email that could be obvious, but it comes very close to your private life. It's somebody who you know that calls you, but it's not that somebody.
Yeah. That happens more and more nowadays, or that you think that you are on the phone with I don't know, your CEO or someone else,
and they would say, "Do this payment immediately, no questions asked. This is the banking account," and then you have to be a strong personality to say, "Can I see some ID?"
And what you saw before is that you got a text message or an email, but right now, and I think I get like 3 calls every week, where I just pick up the phone and say hi with Mijke, and then there's like a voice saying, "Hey, I have a job offer for you. Please go to WhatsApp and text this number." But it's a real number, and that's the difference. You really think that someone is calling you, so their techniques are becoming more advanced.
Yeah, and I think that also ties to the question you raised before, as in we've been hearing about recognizing phishing emails, but technology is becoming more advanced also on the hacker side, right? So it's not only about being better in technology to circumvent certain risks, but it's also about hackers having the possibilities to create better emails, to use more of the context of what would be relevant for you. So mimicking someone from your family, from your organization, but also using technology such as voice technology, using video technology in order to really make an impact.
But the shame on it is still so big, whereas I believe that lately, as you say, it is so advanced, it could happen to anybody.
Yeah, and I think that's really a point where you touch upon now that I think is really important, that there's still so much shame. People, they don't want to report it
or admit it,
or admit that they made a mistake. But everyone makes mistakes. Otherwise, the percentage of human mistakes wouldn't be this high. And you should really encourage people to tell them to say, "Hey, I made a mistake," and also teach them what should you do if you have made a mistake.
Absolutely. So the awareness is key. Joeri, that's what you do at Guardey. Why do you think companies underestimate the risk so much?
I think one of the biggest challenges looking at cyber awareness is that a lot of people, they overestimate their own cyber awareness level. So they think, I'm not the one falling for smishing or for phishing emails or other kinds of attacks. Well, everyone can be vulnerable for this. Secondly, I still think a lot of organizations think, we have everything in order. We are not interesting for for criminals, for example. So I think it's a combination of those two. But for example, looking at that overestimation of people's own cyber awareness level, I think that's one of the reasons people are not motivated to attend a yearly cyber awareness course like Olav was mentioning. If you are very busy, you don't like this subject like we do, and you have limited time, and then you need to read an e-learning course of an hour, for example, while you think you know everything about cybersecurity, you are not the one needing it. Yeah, I think it's quite logic. People are not motivated to attend that course then. So that's why we use a different approach.
I think what we all think is, okay, banks should be careful and some of those companies, but why am I interesting? My question is, the hackers, is it about money all the time, or is it also about disruption? Disrupting our system, our company?
Yeah, it can be disruption as well. Stealing sensitive data, can be all kind of things. Yeah, it's not always about money, not at all.
So data, that's actually our capital, our human capital.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what they're after sometimes as well. How big do you think the role is of human actions in cyber incidents? I think we talked about it. It's 95%, Mijke?
Yeah, it's more than 90%. You see different statistics.
90%.
The one is 98%, 95, 90.
Very high.
Yeah.
Maybe Olav or Mijke, many companies do something in awareness and are busy with cyber security, but what is missing most often, you think?
Well, I think that within cybersecurity, we're used to implementing certain controls, and it is in place or it is not. And then it's easy to say, well, we have this specific awareness campaign in place, so then we can just check mark it and say, well, now it's fine. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. It's a learning process. So it's all about changing behavior, and well, that also comes back to why we believe that Guardey is a right solution for this, because we need to look at it from a perspective of progress instead of from a perspective of checking the box. And that is something new and that we're unfamiliar with. And I think that will make a huge difference if we look at it from a learning angle.
Mijke, how do customers respond when you suggest them to work with Guardey? Are they aware that this exists?
Most of the times they are not aware that it exists. They are aware of cyber awareness training, of course, but most of the time you get the response like, hey, yeah, but it takes a lot of time, and what does it mean? Is it just about compliance? But when I explain them how Guardey works, and it's really about behavioral change and also a cultural change within the company, because you can actually do a competition between colleagues or between different departments within a company. But what's most of the time the trigger for companies is when I tell them, if you have 100 employees, know that there are 100 vulnerabilities walking around in your company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it might sound a bit harsh, but it's actually what it is.
Exactly.
We are the weakest link. And as you said before, for decades, you're already here. Don't press on a phishing link.
Don't do welcome 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. But then why is it still happening? It's still happening because there's no change in behavior.
Okay, it's time to talk about Guardey and what you do exactly, how it works. So let's say I'm a company, I call you up, I say, Joeri, I want to work with you. What do you do first? You assess my company?
Sometimes we do. Yeah, sometimes we do. For example, when an organization starts using our platform, we normally start with a spear phishing attack.
You attack the company?
Yeah. Why we do that? Because
as an example.
Yeah, because what I said, most people, they overestimate their own awareness level. So people think they don't need it. And when we do a spear phishing attack, really targeted attack, we obtain like 30 to 80% of the login credentials of an organization. So everyone understands, okay, we need training. Secondly, you have a good baseline measurement, so where we start. And then after a year of using Guardey, we do a second spear phishing attack of the same difficulty level. And we can show the improvement that we made within the organization.
And what is the unique approach that you have?
A lot of people call us the Duolingo on cyber awareness. We have exactly the same approach. So we have a fully gamified platform. That means we added a lot of game elements into a non-game environment to reach someone's intrinsic motivation, because we want to make it more fun for people. And secondly, we use nano training. So very short training sessions of 3 minutes a week. And by training in a continuous way, then you will make sure critical information will stay top of mind and you change someone's behavior in a durable way.
Okay. What do you mean when you say gamification? I mean, I know what it means, but how do you apply that in the training?
Yeah, good question. So when someone starts using Guardey, they start a fictive organization. And with that fictive organization, we ask them to play a weekly challenge. So a few assignments of maximum 3 minutes. And if they do that in a correct way, they will let grow their fictive organization. So they will earn points and their reputation will go up. But if they make a mistake, they will lose points and the reputation of the company goes down. Making too many mistakes will be the end of your fictive organization. And instead what Mijke just said, we also enable a competition between individuals, employees within the organizations, but also on a department level. So we let departments within the organization compete against each other, and then you have a mutual benefit, and employees within the organization will motivate each other to play those challenges.
And how do you see that this really changes that behavior, that this helps them?
Yeah, because it becomes part of your system. By doing it every week, you will change someone's behavior in a durable way. Instead of what we just mentioned, if you ask someone, how do you recognize phishing? Everyone knows, but it's not in their behavior yet. And that's something we can change.
Mijke, do you think the gamification is a game changer?
Yeah, for sure. We tested Guardey as well within the company, not only in Benelux, but in different countries around Europe, because Guardey also offers a training in different languages, which for us as a global company is of great importance. But what really helps is that it lives inside a company. People, you have to do these trainings every week, or what I did every month. Then I just do it for 4 weeks, which is also possible. But it really lives inside a company. People talk about it. It's great to have a competition. You can have an incentive for your employees. It's not just about compliance anymore. And I think that's the biggest game changer here.
Olaf, you're a fan too, I assume?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Otherwise, maybe we wouldn't sit here today. But I am. And what I think is also very relevant is the fact that it's not 100% a technology incident that happens. It's not 100% a human factor incident that occurs. It's often a mix of different elements. And what I see now is in the cybersecurity community, there's some discussion on, should we focus more on getting some technological measures in place so that the human factor will become less of a risk, or should we focus on the human risk? And in essence, I would say that it's both. But we need to look at the human factor in a different way than we have been, because there is some annoyance about being punished over wrong answers, looking at KPI sheets or Excel sheets with the people that gave a wrong answer. Of course, in the end, you need to show what good behavior looks like, right? So that's also in the gamified approach that Guardey chooses. You need to show what's good, because otherwise you won't learn. However, it's not about punishing. It's not about looking at it every month and see, well, this person made a mistake, and then approaching someone saying you did a mistake. Well, that's not how we will get people on board. That's not how we motivate people to change their behavior. And I think this is the gateway also to not polarize that any more than it should.
Joeri, can you share some numbers, some statistics? Let's say a company that uses Guardey for a year, some results you've seen.
Yeah, going back to that spearfishing simulation we do at the very start. On average, looking at all our customers, in 1 year time, we see an increase of over 80%. Looking at the reports.
Increase of awareness.
No, increase of reports coming out of a phishing simulation.
Right.
So the number of reports they did.
Okay.
And for example, what's also really important in awareness is participation. On average, we have a participation rate of around 90%, which is really high. If you compare it to classical e-learning, normally it's around 50% maybe. So you see people like it. It's a fun way of training.
And that the key is the micro teaching, the nano teaching, which is the behavioral change.
Yeah, and we do it in a different way because what I said, because people overestimate their own awareness level. So people, they are not motivated to read a lot of text because they think they know everything. Same for videos. What we see in reality, when you use video training, people press on play, they go to a coffee machine, they have a chat with their colleagues, and then the video is finished. So for compliance, perfect. You can check the box, but it will not change any behavior, of course. So we do it in a different way. We provide minimum information up front, and we immediately start asking questions or show people scenarios or cases. Think about it, and what would you do in a situation like this? We provide immediate feedback, so you will learn from it immediately. And if you gave the wrong answer, then you got people's attention, and they will read more carefully and memorize that information best.
Mijke, can you share anonymously maybe a client example of a good example of how working with Guardey?
We work together with Guardey on a company that has around 30 employees. They had no awareness training yet. And for those clients, it's really easy to work with Guardey as well, because it's really easy to do the onboarding with Guardey. And what I really like about Guardey is that we follow global trends. And often awareness training is once a year, and then maybe they change it a bit. But with Guardey, it's possible to, if they see, hey, AI is now a big trend, let's make e-learning about AI, and then in a few weeks it will be sent to everyone. So it's really flexible as well.
And then there's also the compliance with the legislations. There's the NIS2 legislation on a European level. What does that legislation mean exactly for companies? I mean, not the most technical details, but just essentially it means that all of companies, there's requirements for companies.
Yeah, well,
regarding...
actually it's a directive, which means that the European Union wants different countries to adopt and to create legislation for it. But in essence, it's about making the European Union resilient against cyber threats. And there's definitely a place for the human factor in that. Of course, well, as we mentioned before, a lot of incidents have a human factor as part of it. So that is a boost. And what we can already see is that organizations are really making that step up to look at awareness. However, it's also quite new. And a lot of the industry still relies on these yearly videos and sessions and exams.
Yeah, and I think the great thing about NIS2, it states you need to create an awareness culture within your organization. And for example, looking at ISO 27001, it states you need to train your people, but it's okay to train your people once a year. And so I think that's the big advantage of NIS2. It says you need to create a culture, and you can't create a culture with offering a training just once a year. You will never create a culture in that way.
Absolutely. Maybe more practical, what first steps can organizations take today to build that awareness? Working with Guardey seems like the perfect answer, but Mijke, what do you think organizations can do to just try to limit the risks? Is that something we can do?
Yeah, I think the first steps that an organization can take is I really want to encourage them to not only focus on compliance. We said it before multiple times already. Having a mandatory training once a year, it's good to have it, but it says nothing about the actual behavior of the people. So that cultural change is really important, and also lead by example. If someone from the executive board makes a mistake, make sure that person also reports it. Just show examples. That's really important to do.
Lead by example, that's a good one. I think a CEO will even have more shame about it. I don't know what it is, but the higher up we get, the more we think we should be able to know it all and don't make mistakes.
Well, the reality is that I still see organizations that exempt boards from doing
they don't have
these
to do
exercises. That indeed is about setting the right example.
And they are often the most old school, analog.
Yeah, well, it depends.
Depends.
I don't want to
exaggerating,
disqualify a lot of it, but I think it is important, and also that's also where NIS2 comes in, because there's now responsibility for the board with regard to making the right decisions on cybersecurity, and this is definitely a huge part of this. So if you show that you thought about this in a broader perspective rather than like the checkbox mentality, then that really helps you also to be ready for NIS2 and not be held responsible for wrong decisions.
Maybe interesting question, Joeri. Do you think there's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of anyone who's responsible for the IT in a company, because somehow it's their responsibility?
But I think that's not correct. A lot of organizations think it's the responsibility of IT, but it's much broader. It's the responsibility of the whole organization, indeed. So,
but when something goes wrong with the computer, we just go to IT will fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big problem indeed. It's a big problem. And going back to for example the of the board, research shows the higher the educational level, the higher that misfit of their own interpretation, that they think they know everything about cyber awareness or cybersecurity, which is not correct at all.
The more you are like, they're not going to fool me.
Yeah, because I'm quite educated, but
I'm smart. It's not going to happen to me.
That doesn't say anything looking at cybersecurity.
No. Is that why there's probably often a lot of resistance? Do you experience a lot of resistance of clients saying, no, I'm fine?
Well, clients, yes, but that is connected to that underestimation, right? So I'm fine. I think I'm doing well, and also the thought that often comes in is, well, why would they target me? And unfortunately,
that is something that I wonder as well. Is there an answer to that? What makes me interesting?
Yeah, what I always say to clients is, you don't have to be interesting for the hacker as long as you are interesting for yourself. So if your data is not interested for a hacker, but it is interesting for you, then it means that you will, for example, pay money to get your data back.
That's what they do.
Yeah, as long as it's interesting for you,
right?
Then it can happen. Yeah.
But is there a difference in companies who have a lot of data, who work with the computer, vis-a-vis, let's say, a company that's in transportation, and everyone who works for a company drives a truck all day? They're not even online. Is there a difference?
Of course, there's a difference, but when it comes to how vulnerable they are, or every company needs data for its operations. If every company who has business interruption, that's the same.
Yeah, but I think you're onto something relevant here as well, because in the end, and that counts for the whole of cybersecurity, it's about the context of the business, right? So what are your key processes? You need to understand that. And also what happens if we have interference in those processes? What if you can't rely on the mechanisms and the tools that you normally have? Then it makes a lot of sense to protect those. It's not a standalone function. It's not just IT that needs to do something. It's about building resilience against these risks. And that is crucial. Whereas I think a lot of the technical elements are directly related to a specific process. But if you look at it from a human perspective, it's more of a broader element to build that resilience against multiple vectors, multiple types of attacks and attackers. And I would even go a little bit further than it's not just about phishing or a specific type of attack. It's also about your people helping you to make the right decisions on cybersecurity. So if you, as an employee, build up your knowledge through, for example, Guardey, you can spot, I think this is our key process and we don't have these specific controls in place. Maybe we should look at those elements. Be a joint team and build your resilience from that.
And I would actually want to go back to the resistance part of companies, because I do want to mention that cyber and cybersecurity, it's still very young. And a lot of companies have invested a lot of money in the past years just to build this resilience. And we know that when we ask them for an insurance, we have a lot of requirements. But that's why we have Zurich Resilience Solutions, because we want to help them focus on the right things to implement, because they already spend a lot of money that maybe 20 years ago they didn't have to spend all this money. So it's really new, and of course there's resistance, but it's also because there's not as much knowledge about cybersecurity and what are the right steps to take as there is in fire insurance, for example.
Right. Joeri, do you also, let's say somebody breaks into my house, I'm talking about physical safety, security, and then the police can come and they can point out like, oh, your back door is a little bit, dodgy and the lock here. Is this also something that you can help a client with to show them where the weakest links might be, and then they're surprised? Probably.
Definitely. We make everything visible. So we clearly show in our platform what are the strengths within your organization, or looking at the department level or location level, but also where your weaknesses are within the organizations. We make everything visible.
Do you have an example of a client where you had that you pointed out a weakness and they were surprised and didn't even think about that for one time before?
Yeah, I think many organizations, for example, GDPR is one of those things. Everyone, because it's there for many years already, and everyone thinks, okay, we know everything about GDPR. Looking at many organizations, they score really low at GDPR and thus privacy of sensitive information.
Right, the compliance with the legislation about that. Okay, maybe we can slowly go into the wrap-up with a little bit of a vision on the future, Olav. For example, how do you see security awareness evolving in the coming years?
Well, of course, we're taking this step because we believe that we should look at it from a learning perspective and educating people. So I really hope that would be a major shift in looking at this as a continuous effort to educate people to become resilient against these threats. Because I had the pleasure of attending the One conference earlier this week, a major conference in the Netherlands about cybersecurity. And what is very apparent is that also AI is a huge change. Yeah. It's going to make a huge difference.
And it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, but that complicates the attacks, increases the complexity, and we need to be resilient to build on that. And we need people. Even though I say, we need to build the human, the resilience of the human factor. It's not about people making the wrong decisions. The whole weakest link component of people. I don't like the feeling of that. But we need each other to become more resilient. And let's make our colleagues actually our joint resilience and build against that.
I heard on the radio this morning in Flanders that there's a lot of job openings in everything that has to do with cybersecurity. Joeri, I don't know. Are you looking for people? Is that something that you feel as well? That
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are looking for people, but also I speak with organizations every day, and every organization is looking for people for cybersecurity. And I think NIS2 is the driver behind that.
What does this partnership mean concretely for customers, Mijke?
What it means for customers is that we can actually help them to get cyber awareness training. It fits perfectly into our broader goal of building resilience for a company. And next to all the other tools that we have to strengthen this resilience, we are very happy that we can actually also help with the awareness training. So that's what it can mean for clients, strengthening their resilience.
You strongly recommend it.
Yeah, and even with or without insurance, it doesn't matter. Resilience or awareness is a really big part of building resilience, and we are happy that we can offer it.
Joeri, somebody's listening and saying, this is very interesting. What should they do? How can they reach out to you?
They can contact me or Mijke or Olav directly via LinkedIn, for example, or contact us via our website, and we're happy to help them.
Great, because it's not just about Guardey. It was new for me too that we can have insurance around cyber attacks and cybersecurity. Maybe that's something that we can quickly just address as well, Olav, for somebody who's listening and saying, that sounds interesting.
Well, I think if you've noticed the news recently that the impact from cyber incidents are ever large.
Yeah, every 11 seconds, a company gets attacked by a. I read that somewhere.
Well, I mean, and the impact then is still very large. So there are also organizations that very sadly actually went bankrupt after an incident. And I think especially there are multiple reasons why you should look into cyber insurance. Also because of the support that you will get if you get an insurance. But I think it has also become a threat to the existence of your company. And from that angle, looking at business interruption, looking at reputational damage, it can be a very good tool and good measure to this specific type of risk.
Right. Okay, I think we said it all. It's not mutually exclusive, but the best way to go for a company, especially when you're, as you said, Joeri, getting a little bit bigger, is to look into that insurance and have the training, the awareness for your people. Is there anything else that you want to share before we close?
Well, I want to stress that last thing you said, because basically it's not about just only doing the insurance and not having to deal with cybersecurity, because you can't cover that complete risk. It's about building that resilient organization. And one of the measures could be insurance, or it could be, looking at the different controls you have, or building learning.
Okay, Mijke, any last words?
I think we stressed it very well that please stay away from just compliance, focus on cultural change, behavioral change within your company. So the behavior of people, but also the culture to speak out if you made a mistake. That's so important. And I cannot stress it enough.
And lose the shame.
Lose the shame, of course. I've clicked on phishing links as well. Yeah, everyone did. But you need people to speak out about it.
And it can become very emotional if your supposedly granddaughter asks you for money and says I'm in danger, and it turns out to be phishing. That can be a very emotional thing for people to experience.
It can be. And what I think is what is great about gamification is that you reward good behavior, and that works way better than the opposite thing. You reward people for the things they did good, and that's motivating people.
My son is 11. This is something I just want to ask, and he loves gaming. So this feels like a match made in heaven. Is there any future plans, or do you already also target the people when they're young?
we are working on it together with some high schools, universities, and primary schools as well. Because exactly. And I think we can offer them a easy, accessible way to train those people as well. Yeah, so we're working on it.
That could be a good future that we can train them before they go to a company and then the company is all set.
Yeah.
What a vision that is.
Yeah.
Well, let's aim for that. Now, thank you so much for this conversation, and I wish you all the best in the collaboration. Thank you, Joeri, Mijke, and Olav. And thank you, of course, for listening and maybe watching us, and maybe we'll see you next time. Thank you. Have a good day.